All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a book review of Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth. Probably should have grabbed that with the other hand. This is a medieval Renaissance time period kind of epic, I guess. Uh, it's definitely an epic. I mean, it's long. The story itself in this one was 987 pages, and it wasn't big print at all. It was an undertaking. And I mistakenly chose this book as the month of January's book club, a book, not realizing that it was 987 pages before I did so. And understandably so, did not get a lot of participants in the monthly book club, but it is what it is. I tried to do a couple live streams for the weekly reading that was required to stay on pace to read this book, but I think it was just too big for some, and the book club ended up being a member of one, myself. But it is what it is. I make these videos because they're fun. So let's jump back into the book. It's a monster. If you do take it on, it's 987 pages, but it is well worth it. So, like I mentioned, this is going to be like a Renaissance, like medieval kind of thing. If you're into all that kind of stuff, you're really going to like it. Game of Thrones, like that kind of vibe. Okay. What's really cool about the book is you have multiple storylines going on here. Your main initial storyline is you're following a man called Tom the Builder, or Tom Builder, and he is a mason that is looking for work. And he wants to build a cathedral. He worked on a cathedral before. His lifelong passion is to build the greatest cathedral that's ever been seen. So he's searching for that, right? The only problem is he's very poor. His family is starving. He has two children. He has a pregnant wife. The wife ends up dying during childbirth. He meets another woman who has a son, and then they have no choice but to leave the baby in the woods. And the mother, unfortunately, dies during childbirth, and they try to move on. A priest takes the baby, and then they follow that priest. They eventually end up working, getting a job there to build a new cathedral. So the main storylines of the book are Tom Builder. Then you're going to have Lady Aliena, who is going to be a fallen from power princess, and you get her story as she tries to regain the earldom for her brother throughout her entire life. Then you're going to have Prior Philip is another main character with his own story of aspirations of running a very successful monastery and church. Those are like the three main ones. Then you have a fourth main storyline that comes in with oh damn, I already Jack Jackson, which is the son of the new wife of Tom the Builder, and he's kind of a quirky, almost sounds like he might be autistic. I only say that just because my son is, and there's some very key characteristics there. But then his story. And then you have a William Hamley, who is a terrible, terrible bad guy. He's one of the worst ever. Like, what a great villain portrayed in this. So you have a lot going on here. So if you liked in Game of Thrones, where every episode was following multiple different storylines that all kind of converge together at different times, you'll really like it. I really did for that. And it's all centered around building this cathedral in Kingsbridge. So everything's kind of built around this cathedral. That being said, in this book, Ken Follett goes into extreme detail about like engineering and building specifics of the cathedral. At times, it can be a little annoying. I understand you're trying to keep like where we're at with the building, but I was having to look up some of these terms because if you're not an engineer, it's going to go over your head and it's just jargon. Um, but other than that, it was a fun read too. It was an easy read uh, with excellent characters. Really good characters, really good story. There ends up becoming a love story that ends up taking, I would say, takes over 60% of the novel between Jack Jackson and Lady Aliena as they grow up together, and then he falls in love with her and her him and um, their whole story. It reads easy. It's a fun read. It's really long. The couple critiques or criticisms I would have is the building stuff. I get it. It's really based around the building of the cathedral, but some of it at times, it's almost like on an every chapter basis, it gets to be a little much. Um, there was that. And then I hate to say it, you read 987 pages of story, and the ending of this book was so underwhelming. I was actually in a really bad mood for like 2 days after I finished this. And I think it was in part due to the ending of the story. I felt like as a reader, I'd invested so much in these characters and time to read this monster novel within the month. So I was having to read like 250 pages a week. So I was like dedicating like set time to read this book every single night. Uh, and the ending, it wasn't a bad ending. It wasn't a shocking ending. It was just so underwhelming, and it really focused on a sub story that well, Prior Phillips story, which kind of became a sub storyline towards the end of the novel. I mean, let's not get it confused or twisted here. The main storyline of this book was Jack Jackson's uh, love for Lady Aliena and her getting the earldom back from the asshole William Hamley. Okay, that was the main storyline. That was the main storyline. And then with I think 50 pages left, they switch it back to Prior Philip, who'd become a sub story, sub character at that point, and it delves into like a politics thing, and that's how they ended it there. I mean, what what happened? You could kind of feel in the novel that it may have not needed to be so long. Like that last section with Prior Philip and then ending with that, it feels like this book could have been 200 pages shorter and not had that entire last part of the story. I really think the story could have gone in a different direction. I still really enjoyed the novel, which brings me to my next point. Well, I'm done with this. I started writing a different story, and I've completely abandoned the novel that I'm 95% of the way through. I hate every single thing about it. I have like 110, over 110,000 words dumped into it, but I just hate it. I hate the story. It it doesn't it's not what I want to put out there. So I've started something else. So I don't know if I want to read anything else. So I'm looking for recommendations because I enjoyed the book so much that I'm actually tempted to read another one of Ken Follett's novels in the Kingsbridge series. So this book is part of a series of books called the Kingsbridge series. There's 5 of them, and it was so much fun. I mean, just because I didn't like the ending doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the other 97% of the story. I thought about just reading more books in the series because I didn't really seem like people were really interested in the book club. If we did do the book club, we could maybe discuss what we read next. I was thinking about The Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy, but that's a really long one too. So I don't really know what to do. This year may actually be the year of long reads. You know, I want to read more of these Ken Follett books. I want to read Pat Conroy's Beach Music and The Prince of Tides. Those are both very long. I've been wanting to read Shogun, which is notoriously one of the longest novels out there. So I'm looking for recommendations. The last time that I got a recommendation, this was a recommendation. Pillars of the Earth was a recommendation. I really enjoyed it. The Ferryman by Justin Cronin was one of my favorite reads of last year, and that was a recommendation. So let me know. I also had Red Rising back there, but right now I'm kind of working on another story and digging it. So I'm not, I don't think I'll be reading too much. I still haven't bought a new novel. I started reading Tommy Knockers by Stephen King. I have read that he didn't think that highly of that novel. I think it was one of his least favorites, is what I remember, the YouTube thing or the article or wherever I saw it. And I believe it because I read about 30 pages in and the flow of the novel is not good. Um, I mean, it's way out there all over the place. Like even for Stephen King standards, and my whole first shelf over there is nothing but Stephen King. So I like it, but it's not doing it for me. So I'm kind of in a rut, don't know what to read next, looking for recommendations. If everyone wants to do the book club again with a live stream, maybe the day was wrong. I did it on Sunday morning. So maybe we do it on a different date and time with definitely a smaller book. I had all those books for the book club picked out, and maybe we can look to some of those, or let's just take some recommendations and see what it is. But I definitely highly recommend Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth if you're into Renaissance, that kind of thing. If I had to rate this book on a scale of 1 to 1 we'll just give it a scale of 10. I mean, it's a solid 8. The book's a solid 8. The ending, it's long, the architectural stuff holds it back, and it was too long. It didn't need to be this long, and the ending was sucked after you read 1,000 pages. So that's it. Videos might be at longer intervals just because I'm not reading that much. I'm trying to work on my own writing. So yeah, shoot some recommendations, and as always, keep reading. Thanks for stopping by. Talk soon.